What if your biggest frustration with proportions and likeness could be solved with just one simple adjustment? I've been drawing for over 25 years, tattooing portraits for over 17 years, and I've seen this one shift completely transform the way my students draw. It's helped them win awards, exhibit their work, and most importantly, create work they're actually proud of. So let me show you what this is, why it's so powerful, and how you can use it to instantly improve your portraits. If we take this portrait here and strip away all of the detail, the likeness is still there. It still looks like the person. It still feels real. Now watch what happens when we do the opposite. Let's keep the detail, but let's remove the tonal structure. Suddenly, the portrait looks flat. It's washed out. It's lifeless. But why is that? Because the tonal structure is doing the heavy lifting. The values create the realism. And this is exactly why many artists struggle with portraits. They spend hours blending and shading eyelashes, the hair, the smaller details, while completely overlooking the one thing that actually creates realism. So then, why is this such a common mistake? Well, our brains are naturally drawn towards detail. We associate someone's likeness with their eyes, their lips, and the small subtleties. So when the portrait doesn't look right in the beginning, our natural instinct is to add more shading, more blending, more detail, because in our mind, more must mean more likeness. But it couldn't be further from the truth. So then the question becomes, how do we actually see the tonal structure in the first place? When you first look at a portrait, it's overwhelming. There's so much information. You don't know where to start, what to look for, or even know what actually matters. So to make this process so much easier, I have created a free portrait tool that with one click of a button simplifies the portrait into basic tonal shapes. So you know exactly how the portrait is structured. There's no more guessing. So now let me show you exactly how you can do this so your portraits become stronger and the whole process feels 10 times easier. Instead of aiming for this, we want to aim for this, because once we're here, getting to this point becomes so much easier. Here's the best way to think about it. When people climb mountains like Everest, they don't just say, okay, today's the day, I want to climb Everest. Because if they did, no one would actually make it. That's why they have base camps to make the journey actually doable. This foundational tonal structure is the base camp to your drawings. It gives you the easiest route while making it manageable. You can't get lost in the details too early because there aren't any. You can't get lost in overblending because you only have the core lights and the core shadows. And that's the key. If you start off simple, the rest of the portrait becomes simple. But if you start off complicated, the entire process becomes complicated. Watch what starts happening as these tonal shapes start to build up. Even though the portrait still looks pretty rough, the likeness is already starting to appear. Your brain naturally fills in the missing information because the relationship between the lights and shadows are accurate. As you can see, there's no eyelashes, there's no individual hairs, there's no detail, but the portrait already feels believable because the foundation is solid. This took me about 50 minutes, and because the tonal structure works here, moving forward becomes refinement instead of repairing, and that's a massive difference. Most beginners spend 3/4 of the portrait trying to fix it because the foundation was never strong to begin with. Now I can start refining the edges, softening the transitions, adding more tonal variation and pushing those darker accents in. You stop obsessing over the tiny details trying to force realism, and instead you focus on the one thing that actually creates realism in the first place. Even with just a 2-hour demonstration, the likeness is there, the realism is there, and now I have that creative choice to add as much or as little detail as I want. And with a bit more time, you can create something really cool. And this works with every medium as well. Charcoal, pencil, the process is the same. The principles are the same, just different materials. But here's the issue. Even if you know this, I still constantly see artists completely throw off their proportions and likeness, overlooking the same thing. So watch this video here so you don't end up making the same mistakes.